Hello everybody and welcome to Tip Tuesday from Sweet Beads in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hi everyone, it's Shae and welcome back to Tip Tuesday. Today we're going to discuss beading thread. Beading thread is what we use in bead weaving along with a needle to create beautiful beadwork with low cost and lots of options, seed beads and shaped beads, all kinds of beads used in bead weaving, and bead weaving starts with a needle and thread. We discussed needles a couple weeks ago. Today we're going to discuss thread. Early on, there was thread, literally threads. Probably the most famous of which is Nymo. This is a nylon seed bead thread. There are also threads like Sono, 1G, Mayuki has a thread. But they all belong in the thread category, is how I'm going to categorize this first category. What's good about them? They come in a variety of colors. They are very fine, soft, supple threads. So if you're doing something like fringe work where you want a nice, soft fringe that falls nicely, Nymo and its cousins are a really good choice. Drawbacks for me is that it really should be waxed or conditioned. You can use a beeswax or you can use Thread Heaven, other thread conditioners. And that's to kind of keep it from being unruly and getting out of hand. It's also very easy to pierce this thread. What does that mean? It means my needle actually goes in between the fibers of the thread rather than going, on one side or the other. It can actually pierce the thread and go right down the middle. And then if you go to back a stitch out, it can be very difficult to back that stitch out because you've pierced the thread, and trying to pierce the thread going the other way is very, very difficult. So you end up with knots and tangles, and it's just very frustrating for me. I'm kind of an uncoordinated beader. I can make beautiful things, but being graceful while I'm doing it is probably not my strong suit. So one of the reasons I'm not a fan of the threads. So what else is there, you say? Well, then we go into the fishing lines, and some brilliant person came up with the fact that you could use fishing line instead of a thread, and it would give you all of the properties of a thread, but being stronger, more stable. And so the next category of beading thread I'm going to talk about is the fishing lines. Now you can buy, this is a monofilament fishing line, and what does that mean? It's just a plastic thread. Now, I don't use this for all of my beadwork, although I have customers that do, and they'll use it for every kind of beadwork that they do. I use this on a couple of different kinds of stitches that need a stronger foundation, and this is really strong, holds its shape, but you need to use a big eye needle with it. It will not flatten, so trying to get it through the end of a beading needle is impossible. You'll need to use a big eye needle. It will also start to twist up on you, so remember to treat it like an old-fashioned telephone cord. Drop your beadwork, let the weight of that beadwork untwist your thread, and then you can keep beading. But again, I only use this for a few projects, but it's really, really inexpensive. This is 700 yards. I purchased this years ago. I've probably given hundreds and hundreds of yards away, and I still have a ton of it. It cost me less than $3 at one of the sporting goods sections of a big box store. So that's monofilament. And then we go to my favorite, which is Fireline. Fireline, pardon me. Fireline is a thermally bonded, microfused braided bead thread. And what that means is that they braid the thread, and then they use a microfusing bonding process to get those threads to be one very strong thread. So you can't tell that it's braided. Sometimes if I've taken a project apart and worked with it several times, it will start to appear the fusing may become a slightly less intense, and you can pierce your thread, but it's very difficult, and it's only when I've handled the thread probably too many times. You can usually take Fireline apart and reuse it 2, 3, 4 times. By time 6 you should probably get a new piece of thread. It doesn't come in a wide variety of colors like the Nymo does. Right now in the beading world it comes in smoke, crystal, which is more of a white than it is a clear, and black. And you're saying, why do we need smoke and black? Well, smoke thread kind of has a coating on it that gives it a lot of the color. And I don't know if you can see on camera, but right there, I just pulled a piece of smoke thread through this tissue lightly, and you can see some of the coating came off. It will also come off on your fingers while you're beading. So this is a permanent color black, and you can see it says permanent color black satin. It is kind of shiny. It's a little shinier and a little slicker than the smoke, which is a coated thread. So if you want a true black, you may want to try the black satin. And this is a 15-yard spool. I got them to carry in our online store just for people who wanted to try it and didn't want to make a huge commitment. But most of the fire lines come in a wide variety of amounts. The 15-yard spool, the 50-yard spool, the 125-yard spool. Those are pretty common in the beading realm. But if you're in the fishing realm, I mean, they come in 300 and, just ginormous spools of thread. Sometimes, usually, those are a little out of my budget. But again, it's a great thread. It's super strong. It's super durable. I love it because I don't have to wax it. I can just put my thread on my needle and go, and that's why I love it. If we had started beading in the thread realm, my mom and I have both decided that we probably wouldn't be beaders today because it's a little more difficult to work with than the fire line. The fire line is just kind of problem free. But it doesn't come in a lot of colors, and some people get a little, they want color, they don't want the black or the white. So you can buy a comparable product. This is another thermally bonded bead. They call this bead weaving thread. Came from the same idea as the fishing line. And this is Wildfire. It's easily obtainable at your big box craft stores. It does come in colors. This one's green. A customer wanted green, and since special orders are no problem for us, I got her in some green. It also comes in pink and blue. I don't love it as much. I feel like it's a cross between the Nymo and the Fireline. It does have some of the strength and durability, but it has some of the piercing issues. So it's not my favorite, but it is easily obtainable, and it's certainly a good option if you want colors. If you are desperate for color in the Fireline realm, you can use a permanent marker like a Sharpie to color the ends of your thread. Or you can look online, and there are a couple companies who will do an aftermarket dye on Fireline, and you can look those up on the internet. You can also dye your own. I went and got a package of dye, and I'm ready to do it, and I've had the package of dye for like 5 years now. So I haven't done it. I can't tell you how it works, but there are companies out there, and just Google it and you can find dyed Fireline. And then Nanofill is kind of a one that's starting to pop up in popularity with the beading community. It's a lot like a Fireline in that it's very strong, very durable. This is a unifilament, not a monofilament. Mono means one, uni means unified, I think. Is what they're talking about. So it has the strength and durability of a Fireline, but it's a little bit thinner. This is 8 pound, and you can see, I mean, it's very, the 6 pound is baby fine. The 4 pound, it almost feels like you're not beading with anything. It feels kind of insubstantial, but it is super strong. My only issue with Nanofill, and I have used it and it works fine, but my issue with it is that it's twice as expensive as Fireline, so I'm just going to stick with my Fireline for now. Okay, so we hope that answered some of your beading questions about beading thread, and you can use threads, you can use fishing line. There's lots of options out there, depending on what type of project you're doing, your price range, and what you hope to accomplish. We hope this helps you choose the right beading thread for you. If you have any other questions, please leave us comments, and we'd love to know future topics. I'm coming up with a topic every week, but I'm sure my brain will soon run out of ideas. So if you guys would like to tell us a future topic, we'd love to hear from you. You can also check us out in our Etsy store. You can check us out on Facebook. You can tweet us. You can check us out on Instagram. So until next week, happy beading and have a great week. And don't forget to purchase all of your beads, thread, needles, supplies. Check us out at sweetbeadslv.etsy.com.